Hey, Coach, when you look at Houston's offense, they're top five in passing, explosive plays, yards per catch, et cetera. Could you just touch on the challenge that presents your secondary?
Yeah, it's really like the same thing every week. It's just the nature of playing in the NFL is week to week. It's always about matchups, and when you look at them from the quarterback position to the wide receiver position, they really have some matchups that create some problems. They're able to stretch the field vertically. They're good underneath. Coach Cobb, run after the catch. So we're going to do a good job, in coverage, really triggering on the ball and doing a good job when we're matched up, staying on top.
Thank you, Daryl. Zach Jackson will have our next question.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you about the D-line. Specifically, what do you need to see better from them over the second half of the year? And do you think fresher legs this week will help?
Yeah, I definitely, think that, the bye week was good. It seems like it's been a long time. But just for the guys to be able to take a breath, look at everything, get rested up. I feel the guys, they came out so far in practice really well. The energy's been good. But as far as the D-line in particular, I think it's a group effort. It's really not a one position group. In the back end, you have to do a good job in covering the by time for the D-line. And then if we're running pressures or things of that nature, it's about execution. So I just think collectively as a defense, that'll help us be able to pressure, the quarterback a little bit more.
Thank you, Zach. Nate Ulrich will go to you.
Hey, Coach, a little bit more on Deshaun Watson. What specifically have you seen from him this season? Statistically, it looks like he's been playing well, and the record isn't great, but how dangerous is he?
He is very dangerous. Very dangerous. So I haven't slept very much this week. But when you look at them, they're doing a nice job in their scheme. You can just tell just in terms of their offense, how they put it together with the run and pass game. I think they're really putting him in a position to take advantage of his talents. And I was answering the question earlier is when you do everything right, then you gotta chase him down, which creates another problem. So he's playing at a high level this year, and he's really doing a good job running their offense.
We'll go to Mary Kay Cabot.
Specifically about Deshaun, if you look over his last, I think it's 5 or 6 games, he's just absolutely lights out. So it seems like he's kind of getting hotter as the season goes along, and hasn't thrown very many interceptions. So what are the talking points? What are you telling your guys about how you can kind of get a handle on Deshaun?
Yeah, there's some things we want to do defensively to try to put ourselves in better positions, but you can see how they spread the field to give them opportunities. You can see how, when they're throwing the ball deep, this how they're doing a good job of protection, with their offensive line. So it's going to be us mixing our coverage, trying to get him to move a little bit out of the pocket, trying to get some pressure in his face. But we just can't let him sit back there and really just get comfortable and try to pick us apart, based on how they play us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, you have our next question.
Hey, Coach, I know you evaluate the film after every game, but when you guys did the self-scout during the bye, did anything really stand out to you as far as, hey, this is killing us, or, hey, these are some issues we're able to fix?
No, I mean, there's always things that stick out, but I think the first thing for us defensively, we always look at ourselves as coaches. Like for me, looking at the calls, how can I call it better? What areas do I need to be more aggressive? What areas do I need to, play more coverage? And so I think defensively, the first thing we did as a staff said, how can we get better? So we'll be able to tweak the menu, change things, make it simpler, be more aggressive at times. Those are things we saw. And then from a player standpoint, it's always week to week. It comes down to execution. And I think sometimes trying to make a play puts you in a position where you can't make a play. So we always talk about those guys that just doing your job is all that's required. And we saw a little bit of stuff there. But overall, I don't think it's anything, like, oh, my God. It's just really just tightening up the details of our coverage package and what we're doing, and me just, calling it a little bit better.
Will you tweak the lineup at all?
That's something. It's like we're tweaking it every week. just based on what's going on. But we feel real comfortable. We're playing multiple people at multiple positions. So we'll continue to evaluate that each week.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Jeff Shadell, your line is open.
And when you look at those receivers, Will Fuller particularly, what do you do to slow him down? He has 6 touchdown catches already.
We're still working on it. No, it's really just a combination of coverage. It's sometimes pressure, getting the ball to quarterback's hands faster. Sometimes it's rolling coverage his way. But it's like what I always tell the guys: when you do something to try to take somebody away, you weaken yourself somewhere else. So it's like pick your poison. But we have to be able to do multiple things from a coverage package standpoint, the looks we give them, and from a pressure standpoint.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll go to Tony Grossi.
Okay, Joe, I think you touched on this earlier, but I wanted to get more into it. It appeared in the Cincinnati game, you really tried to manufacture pressure more than other games for whatever reason. And I'm wondering, is that a weekly challenge for you? You look at your stat numbers, and other than Miles, nobody has been consistent up front creating pressure. So are you balancing when to bring pressure, or is it the opponent that determines that more than anything?
No, it's a little bit of both, because we're evaluating them based on what we see on tape, and they're evaluating us, as well. So I got to look back and say, man, what am I calling as well? But I think when you look at it overall, like you mentioned, Miles, and the pressures that he's been able to create, I think it's a whole defensive. It's how the whole defense functions. There's things that we do in terms of moving Miles around to create one-on-ones. There's times we try to bring pressure away from them. So we're trying to do things to create opportunities for other guys to get pressure. But it's just not all on the D-line. It's just not all on the coverage. It's me changing the play calls as well. So I know I probably lost your question a little bit. But,
No, that's what I was looking at. And the follow-up I wanted to know is, Kevin has talked about how it's taken him a while to learn his players and what they're good at, what they're not good at. You feel you have a good grasp on your defensive players, or there's still some guys you're waiting to find out? I don't know if I can trust them in that role or something like that. Yeah,
I think that's a weekly thing. And, you ask, like, what are we doing? Is it week to week game plan? How much pressure, things of that nature? So always you look at the matchups. You always look at the matchups. Okay, who are the guys we have to take care of? Who are the guys when we isolated one-on-one? What type of coverage packages can we run? What type of pressures can we run? So it's evaluation of, yes, our players, what they're capable of doing, but also what are the opponents doing to try to attack us?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Hey, Coach, so many guys are coming back for the offense from injury, but you're getting Jacob Phillips, working him back in. How's he doing? And I know he hasn't played a ton this season, but from the few games that you got with him, what did he show you? Yeah,
we're evaluating him, daily. Just giving him reps, how much he can take. But so far this week, he's looked good. You haven't seen anything physically that's bothered him. I think the big thing Jacob brings to the table is he's very competitive. So it's like when the lights come on, man, his hair is on fire. He's running to the ball. Now, he may not execute everything properly all the time, but the thing you're going to get is you're going to get a guy that plays hard. So I think he'll get better with the more reps he gets.
Thank you, Nate. Mary Kay Cabot, you're up.
Yeah, Coach, did you find out, not that you didn't already know, but, when Miles was lost for much of that past game, with the knee injury, did you kind of get a sense of obviously just how vitally important he is to your defense? And then I have a quick follow-up after that.
Yeah, he's definitely important because, people have to account for him. So it changes protections, it changes formations, it changes routes when he's in there. So you definitely feel it when he's out of the game. You don't have time to think about it, but things change slightly.
And in talking to Romeo the other day, he was talking about how he believes that JJ being on one side and Miles being on the other will kind of bring out the juice in both of them a little bit. Just wondering, what you think of that notion, and also what do you think of JJ, and is he somebody that you have used over the years in showing younger guys how to get this job done?
Yeah, I'm sure along the way that's something, the most D-line coaches I've been around, Coach Kiffin, Bill Kolar, they always make tape of who they feel are the best pass rushers. And I know Kolar was down there in Houston when I was in Denver, but he's a guy that a lot of people show just because of his versatility inside, his power, his quickness. He's been able to dominate. That's why he's been Defensive Player of the Year, in this league. But in terms of Miles, is he going to get juiced up? I don't know. It just depends on how players look at it. But I'm sure he wants to play well in this game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We'll go to Dan Lobby for our last question. We have Alex Van Pelt waiting on deck.
Hey, Coach. I know we've asked you about this guy a lot, but with Ronnie Harrison, is there something you've learned about him in the first half of the season that maybe you didn't expect?
He's a baller. He's another guy. He's going to show up. He's going to play with his hair on fire. And it's just getting Ronnie comfortable with our system. And he's still getting comfortable with some aspects of the system. But you just really see he has a natural feel. I think the last game you guys saw, this his ability with all the different movements and misdirections just to fit his gap. But when he shows up on game day, he's 100 miles an hour and he's a total gamer.